Before a single ticket is sold, before the lights dim and the previews roll, Hollywood is already doing the math for box office predictions. You've seen the headlines: opening weekend expected to bring in $50 million, or tracking for a $100 million debut. But how do they know? In this episode, we're diving into the fascinating world of forecasting film success. How studios, analysts, and data scientists predict how much money a movie will make before it even hits theaters. Let's start with why these predictions matter. Box office forecasts aren't just about bragging rights or making hype. They influence follow-on marketing expenditures, how many screens a movie is allocated per theater, reassuring investors, and potentially greenlighting sequels and spinoffs early. Studios don't want to overspend on marketing for a movie they know won't do well at the box office, such as Snow White, but they also don't want to underpromote a potential hit. Accurate predictions help allocate resources, build hype, and manage expectations. At the end of the day, making movies is a business, and the business of entertainment requires some strategy. Usually, analysts focus on a movie's opening weekend gross, the amount of money made from ticket sales in the first Friday to Sunday after release. That number often sets the tone for a film's overall performance. However, in the last few years, studios have been also incorporating Thursday night screenings into the overall weekend box office tally. The estimated numbers typically take into account domestic versus international earnings, total box office run, per theater dollar average, and longevity, how well the film will hold up in the following weeks. Let's break down how they get there. Box office predictions start with data, lots of it. There are 4 main categories analysts use. Number 1, pre-release tracking and surveys. Market research firms like the National Research Group and Screen Engine run regular audience surveys. These surveys ask things like, have you heard of this movie? Are you interested in seeing it? And how likely are you to buy a ticket? They break this down by demographics, age, gender, location, among other categories. This helps measure awareness, interest, and intent to see. Number 2, historical comparisons. Analysts look at comparable films called comps. If a new superhero movie is coming out, they'll study how similar superhero films performed. Genre, cast, rating, release window, and even studio reputation all factor in. For example, if Hero X opened in early April and made $80 million, and the new Hero Y has a similar vibe, a similar release date, and a similar budget, that's a benchmark. An example of this would be how Christopher Nolan worked for DC and Warner Brothers to make the Dark Knight trilogy and then moved on to produce Man of Steel. The Dark Knight movies provided a comparison point for Warner Brothers. Number 3, social media buzz. These days, online chatter is a goldmine. Companies use a tactic called social listening to have people read comments on pages and forums, and also use internet and social media analytics tools such as Sprinkler, Hootsuite, and Talkwalker to have AI comb through vast amounts of data to compile conclusions. These internet and social media services monitor X, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube for mentions, hashtags, trailer view counts, and sentiment analysis. Is the buzz positive, neutral, or negative? A massive spike in TikTok trends tied to a movie can be a strong indicator of youth-driven turnout, like people dressing up in suits for 2022's Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Here's something you've never seen. Teens dressed to the nines just to go to the movies. Yep, these high schoolers are getting dressed in their Sunday best to see Minions: The Rise of Gru, the latest installment in the Despicable Me franchise, which took in $125 million, an Independence Day weekend record. The movie's success is partly due to this trend dubbed Gentle Minions. Teens dressed up to show their love for the animated film series they grew up with. Some kids even accessorize their formal wear with bananas, Minions' favorite food. Minions distributor Universal Pictures is taking notice, tweeting, "To everyone showing up to Minions in suits, we see you and we love you."
Last, but certainly not least, is the real-time data. As the release date nears, studios and exhibitors start seeing ticket pre-sales from platforms like Fandango, Regal, and AMC. If seats are selling fast a week out, that's a strong signal. Studios work with distributors to monitor how many theaters are booking the film and how many screens the movie will play on. Generally speaking, a standard wide release movie will show on around 3,700 screens its first 2 weeks. However, movies with massive hype such as 2019's Avengers Endgame opened up showing on close to 5,000 screens. Once all the data is collected, it's time for the math. Some studios and analysts use machine learning models trained on years of box office history. These models weigh factors from all of the previous categories and some additional ones, such as marketing expenditures to date, franchise status, if it's a sequel, star power, ratings, and seasonal release times such as summer or Christmas timeframes. These models output an expected range such as $20 to $25 million opening weekend. It's rarely an exact science, so predictions often come in ranges, but there are also gut checks. Industry veterans who've seen hits and flops for decades use their experience to add context to the numbers. Conversely, sleeper hits such as Sound of Freedom or The Greatest Showman might start slow but gain or keep their momentum due to glowing reviews or strong word of mouth. 2017's The Greatest Showman was made on a reported budget of $84 million but took in a whopping $459 million at the box office. While 2023's Sound of Freedom made a staggering $251 million on a budget of less than $15 million. Competition is another wild card that can affect the profits of a movie. Smaller films will probably get crushed by a Marvel release. Conversely, counter-programming can benefit the box office. A comedy aimed at women might thrive, while most of the men are off seeing a historical drama. Believe it or not, the weather and real-world events can affect the box office. Bad weather, some holidays, local sports events, or even major real-world happenings can all affect audience turnout. Let's look at a real-world example. In 2023, Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer was tracking for a $40 to $50 million opening weekend, thanks to huge social buzz, critical praise, a massive marketing budget, counter-programming to release at the same time as Barbie, a strong cast, an original movie ideal, and releasing during the summer, the film exploded past expectations with an $82 million opening.
World War II would be over. Our boys would come home.
The lesson being that data helps, but momentum and cultural moments can't always be quantified. But as technology evolves, so does the art of prediction. Artificial intelligence is now analyzing trailer engagement and sentiment at scale. Studios are A and B testing marketing materials to optimize appeal to better suit geographical areas within specific regions of the same country and not just international audiences. So, next time you see a box office prediction, remember, behind that number is a blend of algorithms, market research, psychology, and a little bit of Hollywood instinct. Will the movie be a smash hit or a surprise flop? Only moviegoers get to decide. Until then, the numbers are just an educated guess. Let me know if you learned something by dropping a comment below. This is Movie University, education in cinema.